Thank you so much for coming out and attending our Welcome to the Big Leagues session. We are going to go ahead and get started. Let me introduce to you Marcia Hunter, who was previously named the Supplier Diversity Manager of the Year by NAFTA. She is currently in a supplier diversity role at FCA, and here she is.
Thank you. Thank you all for taking the time to come to our session. So let's get started. Welcome to the Big Leagues. How to position your company to attract corporations, handle contracts, and business. Is that better? Okay, Stephanie Burnley. Stephanie Burnley, Devon Industry Group, also known as DIG, is a general contracting and construction management firm founded right here in the Motor City. DIG provides innovative, forward-thinking construction management services to the automotive, commercial, healthcare, and educational customers. Stephanie is the co-CEO for Devon Group. She supports the daily operations of the company, which is made up of 3 departments: operations, get work, and administration. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Eric Thomas of Saga. Saga is a full-service marketing agency based in downtown Detroit that specializes in brand development, digital strategy, outreach campaigns. Saga is a company that captures the spirit of telling stories for its intended purposes, to bridge the gaps that inspire people to action through multifaceted marketing campaigns and narrative branding. Eric is a senior partner at Saga. He oversees the creative direction for the entire organization by coordinating all aspects of the creative vision, quality control to the end product, and managing expectations and executing branding, digital strategy, and outreach. Welcome, Eric. And Carlton Dean, he wears multiple entrepreneur hats. DMARC Building Services and Ease Logistics. DMARC Building Services is a world-class company that has developed the most effective methods and products to service all types of buildings. DBS parent company owns a Service Master franchise and provides executive cleaning, consumable cost-saving programs, specialty floor maintenance, industrial cleaning equipment, and janitorial services to their customer. Carlton is the owner of DBS. Carlton's core focus is to build relationships with customers, prospects, and oversees the entire organization. Welcome, Carlton. And Justin Crenshaw of Venia Medical, the #1 MBE Edge medical supplier in Ohio. Their surgical instrumentation delivery remains a top access to their customers year after year. They provide world-class services and top-of-the-line products to their surgeons and provide on-site support through operations. Justin is the founder and CEO of Venia Medical. Welcome, Justin. All right, so let's get into the questions for our panelists and give one reason why you chose that industry to do business. Let's start with you, Justin.
Use this mic. Can we first give a round of applause to Sakia and Marcia for this event? They've done a great job putting it together.
Okay.
So repeat the question one more time. I want to make sure I answer it.
Okay. Let's talk about the industry you're in. Give one reason why you chose that industry to do business.
Yeah, so my one reason would be it fell into my background. I was a former athlete. I played football at Michigan State, and a lot of times, go white. Oftentimes, it feels good to be in Michigan today. I can't do that in Columbus where I live. So oftentimes medical device companies look for former athletes, and I work for Stryker Endoscopy, which is a medical device company. And I saw that the medical industry is fairly lucrative, and I also knew that I had an entrepreneurial spirit. So I put 2 and 2 together. It wasn't necessarily my passion, but it was an opportunity, and I had an opportunity to start Venia Medical a few years ago. So just in short, it was my background and the opportunity.
Can you hear me? Okay. The industry that I am in is a construction management general contractor. My parents are actually founded the company back in 1994 with Devon Contracting and formed Devon Industrial Group in 1998. And my father is the one that had the background as a plumber apprentice based out of Cleveland, Ohio, that started construction. And me being a successor of the business, we've been in business for 20 years, so I'm not going to let anyone else just come in and take over. So I have the dream and the goals to continue the family legacy and years to come into the next generation, give it to my nieces, my kids. So that's my story.
That's amazing. Okay, how about you, Eric?
Carlton. So facility services for me, I was interested in my first job. I was 10 years old, was buffing floors at a church. So my mom's like, you're going to get a job, but you are not going to work at a fast food place. She just didn't want me to work at a fast food place. So my first job at 10 years old was buffing floors, and it kind of was natural to me. It was easy. So I said, you know what? I can do facility services, and obviously there's a lot more that entails. So we do, HVAC cleaning, all kinds of specialty cleaning for tier 1 Honda manufacturers, and it kind of has developed from there. But that was kind of my initial reason for getting into business. So.
Okay, thank you.
I guess that leaves Eric. Hey, y'all. You're about to find out very quickly the reason I work for myself is because I can't work for other people. So I always joke that I wouldn't wish entrepreneurship on my worst enemy. This is not something I wanted to do. I wanted to be a robotic engineer. But even when I was doing robotics, I was doing design, so I ended up getting into design and graphics. So I kind of have a hybrid math creative kind of gene. I was stumbling along doing graphics as a starving artist because I don't understand how to make money for myself. And I ran into my business partner who was like, my business partner's been in business since he was 6 years old. Like trading stocks since he was 6 years old. It makes no sense. And so when we became business partners, he kind of took what I was doing and molded it into a business. And so now storytelling is kind of a hybrid between branding, marketing, and community engagement. And it's really what I've been doing my whole life. Talking enough mess to not get my butt kicked. And I'm not a big guy, right? He comes to fight me, I gotta talk my way out of it. And that's kind of what I do for my clients. I help them communicate. And so since I've been communicating so long and been doing creative work so long, we have found ways to build actual campaigns that allow people to make money and connect with their audiences. So that's kind of how I ended up here.
Okay, awesome. Okay, name one quality an entrepreneur must have to succeed in business. Carlton.
I'd say tenacity. I mean, you got to fight for yourself. You got to fight for your customers. Every day you wake up, I tell all of our associates, if you're not selling, you're dying. Every single day, you can't rely on any contract or any current customer you have. I mean, you have to be pushing your business forward every single day. So that's the one quality that I'd say.
All right, can you elaborate a little bit, Justin?
One characteristic I would say is resiliency. There were a lot of sleepless nights when we first started the company. I didn't start making money day one, and I would say that's true of most businesses. So you have to be resilient because things aren't always going to go your way. And on top of that, it's easy to quit, and it's easy to, nothing against a steady paycheck, but if you want to work for yourself, there's a lot of risk involved. So I would say resiliency, definitely.
I would agree with that. And for many of you that attended the lunch session, Mr. Moody spoke about that also, so awesome. Okay, so what would you say is one of the best marketing tools when it comes to promoting your business? Let's start with you, Stephanie.
I would say the best marketing tool for us is your staff, your employees. They are out there day-to-day meeting with your clients, your customers, and they represent you, which represents your company. And also participating for the marketing tools is MMPC. They help support you. All the events that we go to, you're out there branding your company, wearing your promotional apparel with your logo and your shirts and the networking events. So that would be our best marketing tool, is our staff.
Okay. Eric?
Y'all better lower her membership. She just gave y'all all the plugs and shout outs. Who would be the best marketing? Y'all. You better get your membership dues. Lord Jesus, why'd y'all invite me here? I would say, so I'll do a double, right? Because marketing is my business, so I don't want to be extra dramatic. So I would say the trait would be audacity. You should be able to tell your story in a way that is unique and interesting. You should be able to do it in a way that people care about it, because why are you getting up every morning at 4 a.m. in the morning to do this thing if you don't give a damn about it? And sometimes when we get out there to do our marketing story and we're talking to people, like one-on-one, we're passionate. But like your flyer is like, we do cleaning. We have cleaning supplies. Let us clean your stuff. It's like, I'm not really excited about that, yo. Because then you'll become a commodity. You become head up with everybody else who also has cleaning supplies. And so why should I trust you? And so audacity to honestly tell people why you give a damn is the number one reason. Anybody here knows that word of mouth is important because your personality spreads that narrative.
Absolutely.
Now, tool-wise, there is a very serious break between traditional media and social media. Everybody's gonna tell you social media is the answer because it's a much easier way to get you to cut them a check. But social media empowers traditional media. It allows you to communicate between the impact of your traditional. Traditional costs more, right? TV, radio, going out, trade shows cost more money. But they give you legitimacy. When you see a TV commercial, you believe the online commercial. But the online commercial is cheaper, so you can do more of them in between. So you don't do one without the other. You connect those two spheres so that you can have a consistent communication, but the legitimacy of the base traditional media. So that's what I would say, tool-wise.
Okay. Very good information. If you could travel, or if you could time travel to one of your startup in 15 minutes with your former self to communicate any lessons learned with the intention of saving yourself mistakes and heartache, what would you tell yourself, Justin?
So I saw an interview with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, and they separated them and they said, write one word on a piece of paper that would define your success, and both of them separately wrote down focus. And I think oftentimes if you're a young entrepreneur, you try to do too much, and that's came to bite me in my back instead of focusing. And if I would have just put laser focus on one subject, one topic, on one business, I would have had a lot more success. So I would just tell myself to focus on one thing, and the other success will come.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And at FCA, we wear many different hats, and oftentimes are focusing on a lot of different things. And when you can't choose one to focus on, you basically is not effective in completing whatever that goal or objective is. So would you like to elaborate a little bit, Carlton, from your perspective?
Well, Justin stole my focus answer. So I would say if I could only have 15 minutes, I could spend days. But I would say, when you're first starting off, pick the right customers. And we know how it is. You're trying to keep the lights on. You're trying to pay the bills. So you're snagging every customer you can. And boy, I tell you, it's always the ones that have the smallest contracts that take the most work. And they drive your management crazy. They drive your associates crazy. And those dollar signs look great, but they're not always profitable. So I am doing that now in a heavy way, retooling our business to find the right customers that we want to help grow their business and they want to help grow ours. We care about each other. There's a relationship there. So again, just pick the right people to do business with would be my suggestion.
All right. So where do you find that minority business enterprise or new entrepreneurs have the most challenges within the business industry? And how can other corporations and or MBEs assist in navigating those issues? Stephanie.
For us, for the industry alone, I would say access to cash capital and access to suppliers would be a major, most challenge. And the second question was how do we assist?
Yes, or how to assist in navigating those issues.
So I would say to assist would be for the access to cash is definitely know your accounting. Whoever's doing your banking for you, know what they're doing. Also, just know the basics of it, because you might have hired a CPA, but they might not know what they're doing. And if you don't know what they're doing, then that can cause you some trouble when it comes to getting loans. And then for the suppliers, again, MMSDC can get you connected to the directors of suppliers that are in OEM or tier ones that you might not know on the outside, but they have those connections. So being part of a council definitely helps you.
Awesome. And they also have financial institutions where they have lending capital to support some of your the new entrepreneurs and MBEs in the industry.
Right.
So really good. Eric, can you elaborate a little bit?
I would say one of the things that I see MBEs, small businesses, minorities, women, we have low aspiration. Like, we don't aspire to be Bezos. We aspire to be Oprah. But Bezos is 118 Oprahs, right? Like, and when I talk to people, like they really, and when I talk to black folks, they really just kind of want to be the biggest local black person. And I'm always like, damn, yo, like, I've never spoken to a white male in business who just wanted to be the biggest local tire passer outer, right? Like, and it always frustrates me because when we go into mission and message and marketing and vision, because we do that kind of work with people, it's always like, I would like to be the largest minority-owned X. And I wonder if when you know they say if you shoot for the moon, you can at least land on the stars? Like, what happens when you just shoot for the top of the tree? Do you just land on the lower branch? And that frustrates me. Like, it genuinely frustrates me. I think, what could we do to work on that? I think we need to introduce smaller businesses to people who are running larger businesses. And I think the people who are running the much larger businesses, where am I at? Where are we at in here? Y'all need to stop hiding from us. Like, what's happening is that I think a lot of our very successful minority-owned businesses are kind of like operating under the radar as not to be seen because A, if you're doing the work, it's about the work and it's not about the notoriety. And also, if you have this like slight tinge in your background that says if people find out I'm making all this money, they're gonna come get my money. But it leaves us to aspire to smaller things. Then we have young people that aspire to drug dealers and rappers, even though we have like distributors that are probably gonna be here that make more money than all the rappers we ever seen. And then we have small businesses who only see the people who are kind of flashy or at least show up to the event. And I've been very fortunate that I've met some of these really successful entrepreneurs because I'll just find you and walk up to you and harass you to understand how your business mechanism works. But if I didn't do that, I wouldn't know. And so that's something that we have to do. We have to build networks between people so that, and we need to share resources. We need to share opportunities. Like, I don't want to hear no more, we need to like network and hug people, right? Like, hugging people ain't did shit for my bottom line, right? Like, researching how do you get to the next deal is what has always been able to allow me to hire people from my neighborhood that didn't have those opportunities because other people weren't hiring them either. So that's kind of where I'm at.
So I agree with a lot of what you said, and to a lot of things that we tell our supply chain partners and some of our diverse suppliers is exactly what you said. Sometimes not only network, but do joint ventures, strategic partnerships. So partner with a company that can do something that your company is currently not offering to that larger corporation. So then you come in and you bring in innovative solutions. You're not coming in with the same portfolio as the supplier that they currently are using in their supply chain. So I do agree with you 100%. Utilize your network, but also look where you can partner with people, joint ventures, strategic partnerships, and things of that sort. So awesome. So while we have you speaking, name one myth, Eric, about entrepreneurship and provide a response to clear up this myth.
I think one of the biggest myths that I hear about entrepreneurship is that people do it for freedom. Right? Like you just do it so you can just not go to work. Right? Like, and when I hear people who are like you hear this all the time, I should be an entrepreneur because I don't want to take orders from nobody. And it's like, no, bro, you're going to be taking orders from your client. And then you got one manager right now. When you have 52 clients, you got 52 managers.
Absolutely.
And if you're doing your business right, you kind of answer to your staff because you want them to be in the best position. Like, you're not a tyrant. You're a manager of people. And so this idea that you're just like an autonomous being kind of just taking vacations at random, week 2 is the biggest myth I've heard in entrepreneurship. I think you become an entrepreneur because you are driven to solve a problem that you found or uncovered. And you do that by any means necessary with whatever work and whatever effort you need to do to make that true.
Okay, so let's get some audience engagement. So we're going to do a little game. You have an opportunity to participate as audience. So we're going to ask each one of our panelists to provide 2 truths and 1 lie. So if you guess what the lie is, you win a prize. All right, are you willing to participate? All right, so let's start with Stephanie. What are your 2 truths and a lie?
Okay, my 2 truths and a lie. Well, I actually own an event company called One Word Events. I graduated with a bio degree in my master's. And I have 4 nephews, 2 great nephews, a great niece, and 2 nephews that work with me.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Stephanie. You can for that 2 truths and a lie. And can I get someone from the audience who can guess which one of those was Stephanie's lie? Let me go over here. Let's see. Yep, go ahead.
I'm guessing number 3 was a lie.
The nephews? No, that's the truth.
The first one in terms of where she, what she owns. Nope.
So the biomass was
So the actual lie was that I had my master's in bio.
All right, how about you, Carlton?
All right, first one, I worked 27 consecutive 14-hour days without a day off. My company has never lost a contract, and we believe in taking care of our employees because they take care of our customers.
That's hard.
All right now, Carlton, all of those seem believable. So, who wants to go ahead and take a guess of which one of those was the lie? Let me come over here. All right.
You never lost a contract.
Are you trying to say I got a bad business? That's true, yes.
All right, so.
Wasn't our fault, though.
It's me. Okay. I had these in order. I have a third company where we specialize in hair loss products. I've started to raise funds and make plans to run for the mayor of Detroit. Number 3 is I order human body parts on a regular basis.
Okay. All right, so he threw me for a loop with that last one. I might can get that one right. But let's see, who wants to go ahead and take a jab at it? Back here? Okay.
Would it be the second one? I think you're qualified. I don't think you'd announce it.
So you guys,
Yes.
thank you,
Please
Carl.
explain to us that.
So oftentimes we'll sponsor cadaver labs for the doctors, the attendings, and the residents we work with. So I find myself on the phone bartering for, specimens. I shouldn't call them human body parts, but heads and necks and torsos. And if you're looking for torsos, I can really get you a good deal.
And he's my neighbor in my neighborhood, so I got nervous for a second there. I'm like, I'm moving out.
It goes to show there's there's a lot that goes on in healthcare, and because we're in this MBE space, it's really expanded our horizons, and we're able to do a lot more and provide value to our customers.
I just want to say I buy human body parts now, but like probably less believable. So see. I have done branding for over 1,000 businesses. I made $1 million within my first year. And I do not have a degree.
Okay. So, who wants to go ahead and take a jab at figuring out which one of those was Eric's lie? Let's go to the middle.
Let's say gross.
Most probably number 2.
Super lie, so broke. All thrift shopping. Real talk.
Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in our panel twist, 2 Truths and a Lie. So we're going to go ahead and get back to those panel questions.
All right, so what do you think certification can be very difficult, very beneficial to a business? Can you explain how, Devon Industry Group utilizes their MBE certificate?
So we utilize our MBE certificate. One, we are heavy in the automotive industry. So being a tier 1 for the OEMs, they require you to have that minority certificate. And even though we're a tier 1, we also require our subcontractors. We don't require, but we recommend if they really want to get work with us, we try to help them get their minority certificate also, because we can count them as a tier 2, and then eventually we can help them grow to become a tier 1 in the automotive industry. So MMSDC has helped us being minority certified for that type of industry.
Okay, and that's awesome. So basically you're helping smaller corporations become larger corporations and giving them the avenue to do so by providing them with the training and the resources that you have in the council.
Yes.
Okay. How about you, Carlton?
So our company is certified through OMSDC, which is obviously the Ohio chapter of the Michigan Council and the National Council. So for me, it allowed a centralized place to meet decision makers, right? And it's a different story. That doesn't mean you get business, but it at least gets you in the room with the people that can help get you contracts and help push propel your business forward. So that's a way that we leverage. Also, a quick tidbit. So, I had now as a customer approach the Ohio Council and say, listen, we're really looking for, to increase our MBE spend. So they connected us together, and, I had to explain to them, like, it's a culture change, right? So it's not just, hey, we checked the box, MBE spend. Everybody's got to believe in this change. And we were able to work through the council to, give them information to talk about processes and the whole entire diversity picture for their organization to help propel their business forward. And obviously it helped us as well. So that's some of the things that obviously local councils can do for you.
So while you have the mic, can you just elaborate a little bit on how did you go about gaining your company funding capital? What creative strategies did you use to create minimal cash flow?
So any probably rich person that's made a lot of money uses and leverages other people's money, right? So I didn't do that. I had to use a lot of my own money. Actually, I have not went to a bank or raised capital at all, ever in any of our businesses. So we've been blessed with the opportunity to go into contracts with the right customers and set the right payment terms. And that customer that I just referenced, they liked our organization, our staff so much that they put us on a 7-day pay. And they said, also, every MBE we do business with, we're going to pay them in 7 days. And that customer is the Columbus Zoo, by the way. So,
Awesome.
I mean, that's changing lives, that's changing businesses, that's changing a culture, a mindset, which is definitely what we're trying to accomplish.
Can you elaborate a little bit, Justin?
Yep. So, like Carlton, fortunately, we were self-funded with my first venture, which is Vinia Medical. I used a lot of my own funds, but I also learned a ton through another project we had called the Hanga, and we utilized crowdfunding. Kickstarter was the platform, and we learned a ton about that and how crowdfunding works. It's not only good for raising money, but it also serves as a good focus group to see if your product or your business idea is going to be successful and what different groups are going to be interested in your product and any components that you need to add.
All right. What advice would you give new entrepreneurs or MBEs about being prepared to do business with a corporation, whether it be with an OEM, or original equipment manufacturer, or a tier 1 company that provides products and services to the OEM?
I'm going to pass that question to Carlton because he has a lot more experience in that. Go ahead.
Let's see here. Can you just say that question one more time?
Sure. So what advice would you give new entrepreneurs or MBEs about being prepared to do business with a corporation, whether it be as an OEM or a tier 1 supplier?
Okay, so first of all, don't assume these events will get you business, right? So you have to learn the sales cycle for every single company, right? You have to find out if a company even buys the product you're selling. You know, I've been the guy that's like, calling the same contact, like, I'm trying to do facility work. And the guy's like, it's all in-house. What are you talking about? I'm like, well, shit, I've been calling you for six months. So find out if they buy what you're selling. Portal, you're gonna hear portal, sign up in our portal from every company around. Yes, that's part of the formality. You do have to sign up in a portal, but you have to find an individual that works for that company and latch on to them. And you have to find out as much information about that company as you can. Do your homework. Don't go into a company and say, hey, we want to do business with you, and you don't know anything about the company. And if that's being said, you better know what the hell you're selling, because they're going to pick you apart. I mean, you have to know the services you're offering, your competition in the space. The services you're selling or the product you're selling, is it competitive in the market? I mean, you really have to do your research when you're trying to get into these major corporations. So find the right companies, learn about the companies you're going to do business with, know who you are and what you sell, and that process, I can guarantee, will work.
So you absolutely took what I was going to elaborate and say. Basically, knowing where you fit in the supply chain. Yes. Know what your value proposition is. Know how you can enhance that company's bottom line, no matter what it is. So currently, like if you're doing business with Ford, GM, Toyota, 9 times out of 10, they have someone in that space that already do the work that you do. So you need to know what you can bring that's different, what we're currently not offering in our vehicles, what we're not offering in our manufacturing facilities, what we can do to better our customer experience. We can talk about electrification. I mean, a lot of these spaces are already like overcrowded. So just know your value proposition and where you fit in the supply chain. So when you do go talk to someone in that organization, they want to hear you. So now they're going to walk you over to meet with their senior manager or the buyer that they have attending a trade show. So really, really know what your value proposition is and how you can enhance that company's bottom line.
And you can use that as a reference. We clean and do facility work for a ton of tier 1 Honda tier 1 Honda suppliers in Columbus and all around Ohio. And it took us getting into one, so American Showa. And we got on American Showa and we do a phenomenal job for us. And then they referenced us to Yazaki. Yazaki got us into Stanley Electric. Stanley Electric got us into Yashio, and it was just a trickle effect. And we just kept executing on every single contract. And now if I go to a tier 2 or tier 3 supplier and they're like, well, I don't know if you can handle our facility. I'm like, yeah, we can, because we're doing all of these other companies over here, and it's right away.
Absolutely. Very good. Would anyone like to elaborate?
I was just gonna say, you guys read my mind because I had the exact words that he had. I just want to say, just know what value you can bring to the table. And try to attain a certification in some type of council.
Okay. So as a successful corporate professional, what advice do you have for the audience when it comes to achieving high level of business success? And we can start with Eric.
You're going to ask me about being a successful corporate individual. I would say, this is kind of weird for me because I've never been a corporate individual. I have always been Eric Thomas. There's never been a time where I've necessarily switched my demeanor because I think the nature of my business is fundamentally different, right? People call us when they want to stand out from the crowd, when they want to be seen and when they want to be heard. And so I've always felt that it was my job to speak on behalf of not only my community, but on the things that I believed were right. We don't do BS marketing, right? We don't believe it's our job to make up lies to get you business, to pretend that you'd sell something that you don't. We believe that our job is to take the thing that you do and connect it to the people who want or need it, even if they didn't necessarily know that's what they want or need it. And so when I go into rooms, I bring the entire wealth of my experience, my lived experience on earth, as a black male or as a short person or as an angry person or as a person affected by the geopolitical dynamics of the world that we live in, or a person who has a mom or a dad or who has a family who've been on drugs before, or being raised by my grandmother. Like, I bring that to the table because no matter what your technical aspects are, somebody can always copy your technical aspects. Even with patents, they can figure out a way to copy the output of your technical aspects. But it's very hard for people to copy your lived experience and your identity. Like, the why do you do this? Like, my man's over here talking about cleaning stuff, but it sounds like the most interesting thing I've ever heard because his passion for doing a great job will not be beaten by anybody else with any of the tools that he has. And so when he's in that room, I guarantee you can feel the passion. You can feel the passion coming off him now. He's sitting on the panel talking about cleaning floors. And that's incredible. It's an incredible ability to be a human. And so I think success, defined by me, is being able to do what you want to do as authentically and genuinely to your own life as you can possibly do it. If you can make money like that, you have made it.
A lot of passion in that. All right.
I'm worried that I have to follow Eric here. Right. But to go along Eric, it's how you define success. And I think if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business leader, you have a responsibility, and it's how you give back. So I always measure my success in how I give back. Kids in my community look up to me. I consider it an honor that my daughter's elementary school asked me to come in for career day. Or, a college kid hits me up on LinkedIn and asks if he could have some advice, or he asks for interview tips, or he sends me my resume. So I would just say, if you're an entrepreneur, know that it comes with a responsibility, and you have a responsibility to give back and also help those who are less fortunate. Because really, at the end of the day, if you have any ambition, it doesn't always come from yourself. It comes from above, or it comes because somebody else believed in you. So I would just say have a mindset to serve and to give back.
Awesome. Great advice. Okay, Stephanie.
I would also say giving back to the community is a big success. There's actually a construction sector for the little kids that is coming up, and we participate in that. And just introduce them to construction, because a lot of the young kids, they think construction is just dirt, work boots, hard hat, but there's more into it, the office stuff, the management of it. And then also, with your clients, you want to develop that relationship with them outside of work on a personal level. Just, learning about them, about their family, understanding them on a one-on-one. That's not always about signing the contract or the dollar.
Okay, awesome.
All right, so I'm a real big quality of life person, right? So what does quality mean to you? For some people who are single with no kids, it might mean working a 20-hour day. I'm okay with that if that's you, but that's not me. So quality of life for me is, being successful enough to obviously pay all the bills, have a little money to do what I want, but it's the ability for my two boys to be able to run down the street and play with Justin's two daughters, and us sit on the porch and drink a beer and watch that. Because I grew up in the middle of East Cleveland with a single mom, no money, on the bus. She worked 3 jobs. I never had kids. I never was arrested. Never was in trouble, went to private college. Those are things that my mom aspired for me. So that means a lot to me, to my core, to be able to do that. To be a black man, owning a home, married, kids, see brothers like that doing that with their own businesses as well, right? So big on quality of life, and obviously that connects to your customers too. So, if a customer works for GM or Chrysler or whoever, they have an identity outside of their company as well. And they have goals, they have ambitions that may have nothing to do with their career. Try to find that out. When you're out to dinner, you're out to lunch, you're golfing, or whatever you're doing, find out those things that are passionate. I can guarantee you will connect with that customer, that person. And a lot of times that equates to dollars in business, because they understand it's not just about a contract. You actually care about them as an individual.
So true. And I can elaborate just a little bit about that. When you do connect with a person, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go over and beyond to make sure they can help you in ways where they may not do that for the average person that they meet on a day-to-day basis. So just having that personal relatability factor, it does mean a lot. So let's open it up to questions in the audience. Do anyone have any questions for our panelists today, or myself? We have a question over there.
We're on Facebook Live at the same time. Hi, my name is Shalia Hart, and I'm with GSHA Quality Services. And this question is for Carlton. In the service industry and starting up, which comes first? Getting the contract or getting your staff?
All right, so it's a tricky one here. I'm like running scenarios through my head. So right now, I said earlier, I believe if you're not selling, you're dying, right? So I'm always trying to get contracts. I'll execute and find the people later. I'll find the financing later. I'll find the equipment later. I want to land that business first. Which obviously, as an entrepreneur, you have to be proactive, right? Thinking about what's coming up. So currently, we're in the contract negotiations with the NHL Columbus Blue Jackets, right? So I would have to hire 105 people in the next 60 days if we land this contract and be fully operating a NHL arena. Have I hired a person yet? Nope. Not gonna go out there and do it. I believe we're gonna get this contract, and all my management and my team are ready to go full force if we get it. But I'm gonna get this business first, and if it doesn't work out, I'm gonna find the next customer, and I'm gonna go get my customers and my contracts first. I'll figure out the rest on the back end. May not work for your business, but it's worked for mine, so yeah.
So to that point, I think you kind of answered it, but so when you're negotiating a contract, do you negotiate the onboarding process in terms of how long it would take you to actually fulfill the staff to support it?
I mean, yeah, I think that's key because you don't want to fall on your face, right? So I won't take contracts that try to force us into starting quick. So, I always tell people we'll never be the cheapest price. We're not going to be the most expensive, but I'm going to be a high middle grade, right? And I'm okay with being a second or third call. Sometimes they need to find a customer or find another vendor, fail, and then come back and give me my price. And I always have to say, I told you. because I know what my labor costs are, I know what my equipment costs are, I know where I need to be, I know where my profit needs to be, so I'm not gonna make sacrifices for that because I believe in our people, I believe in our process. So when you put those things in place in the right order, I think you'll be able to execute your contracts correctly.
Thank you so much for that. All right, let's go over here to our next question.
Thank you. Taryn Zelkis with Eagle Specialties. Eric, you talked about giving a hand up, really reaching back and helping those other entrepreneurs. And I guess anybody on the panel could answer this. With your experience in the class MBE that you are, what has been the best outcome of giving a hand up to a smaller minority company? Or what would you say to those minority companies that are looking to grow from a class 1 and they're at that tipping point to get to a class 2 to reach that level? So what have you done to help the minority companies that are littler than you? And then what advice do you have for said companies?
So I don't think I've ever operated in life looking at the class of MBE that I've been working with. So I wouldn't even know because I would never have asked. But working with companies that are smaller than ours, I mean, in many ways we go out of our way. It's kind of in our ethos. We hire people that don't traditionally get jobs because we know that talent isn't always in a resume. And in the same way we do when we're contracting people like for video service, right? We do full service marketing, branding, communication, but we don't do the video production. So when we find either a person with a camera or a team of people, we sit down and we talk to them and we understand what their drive is. The best thing that has happened so far is we just did a campaign for a homeless shelter called COTS, which is family focused. And it's a young guy, and he had not done a project as big as the one we had. But he told us that his drive is to solve problems and make things great. And so we said, all right, bro, let's see what you can do. Because we have the resources to support. We have the resources to kind of come in and fill in the gaps if necessary. And we did on the scripting side and all of that stuff. But we actually got the best video content from this one person and his friends than we've gotten from any major teams or any people who are older with experience, because he went out of his way to fill the holes that some people would say this is a standard practice. And so that's always been great. Just finding people who know that the way it has been done isn't the way it has to be. And that's something that's really encouraging about working with companies that are just crazy enough to see if it works.
Thank you so much, Eric, for that.
My name is David Cross. I'm with the law firm Lewis & Mundy, and I'm curious, anybody can answer the question, on a day-to-day business basis, as you're running your business, as you're dealing with OEMs, Tier 1 suppliers, et cetera, how important is it, and do you deal with your lawyers, your accountants, your other professional services providers? How important is that as you deal with these other persons, OEMs, like I said, Tier 1s, and even Tier 2s and Tier 3s who are lower than you? How important is it for you to have a regular basis interaction with those types of service providers?
I'd say for me, a mentor told me a long time ago, respect your ignorance, right? So respect the things you don't know. Don't pretend to know. So, I'm more of a people person. I like to get out and connect with people. I'm not a numbers guy. I know the numbers to keep my business above water, but, you send me a spreadsheet and I'll get a headache in 30 seconds if, numbers and stuff. So, we found the right accounting firm, right? So we found the right, MBE attorney to work with to help us on our contract side, right? So I went out and found all the right people, brought them in a room, and monthly we look at, all aspects of the business. So our, what contracts are expiring, obviously our certification side, the financials, how's the P&L looked, try to get other people that, not necessarily competitive space for me, but just kind of like-minded industry. So like we don't do the actual machine, like physical machine cleaning. So, we found a company that we can partner with and give us advice on that side, just from a business perspective. So I think it's very important to find, you don't always have to have them as W-2 employees that work for you. You can find the right organizations that align your business to help you do the right things and look at the right metrics.
Thank you so much, Carlton.
Any more questions? Oh, Lisa.
Hello, I'm Lisa Harton from Cummins, so from the corporate side. A lot of times we do workshops and things on how the MBE should prepare to come to the trade show. But I have a question to the MBEs of, what kind of things have you seen or think would be better for us to do when we come to the trade shows? For example, I'm bringing 10 buyers tomorrow, and I'm trying to make it worthwhile. There's, time. But if there was other things that I can done before they got here to prepare them for the type of things that you would like to talk to the buyers about, that would be great to have that information. Okay, Carlton, you can answer the question.
We can share this.
I'm going to be talking too much up here. For me, I think it's, so obviously corporations list out all the services they're looking to buy, right? So, warehousing, logistics, consumables, whatever it is. But I think to know your current or previous MBE spend in those categories, right? So, if I'm a facility maintenance guy and I go up to a Cummins or whoever and I say, hey, we'd like to, talk to you about services. Here's what we can provide. I see that you have this listed. Have you had relationships with MBEs in this department? What's your current spend with them or your previous spend with them? And you say, well, 0. I think that's an issue if you don't know kind of where you've been in that range. And then also, from like we talk about a cultural, from a mindset. I've been to plenty of MBE workshops where there's people who are there to be there. They write the check. They have the booth, it looks nice, it's all lit up, but they don't care about MBE spend at all, right? I always tell MBE businesses too, it's not about your certification, it's about your company, so you have to be a qualified company first to do business. It just so happens that you check a box, right? So, I would talk with your staff about what MBE means to your company, right? So you get them out and say, what does it mean? What do you think it is, right? I ran into a contact of a very large company. He's like, oh, MBE is doing business with black guys, like, black businesses. And I was like, whoa, like, just don't say that out loud. Like, it's like, no, it's like diverse, like women-owned businesses, disabled veteran-owned companies, like trying to explain this to him. And this is a guy who is a executive at a high-level company that doesn't understand, but he's at an MBE event. So make sure that your staff is prepared to know what they're going to be talking about and engaged in and know the numbers will be on.
And just to elaborate just a little bit. So at FCA, we have our buyers there, we have our managers. But one thing we're trying to do now a little bit different, we're bringing in our tier 1 supply chain partners. And these are some suppliers that we consider to be high focus. And what that means is they have an opportunity to increase their diversity spend, be it with MBEs, WBEs, VBEs. So oftentimes when diverse suppliers come into the booth, they will walk past the 10 tier 1 suppliers that have immediate opportunity to speak with someone at FCA. But I encourage everyone to speak with the tier 1s there too, because sometimes you can get that contract in all honesty faster than you can get a contract with FCA. In our case, if you're doing something that's vehicle or product related, it's going to be about 2 years. So right now we're sourcing for products for 2020, 22 or whatever. So if you're looking for something immediate, talk to some of the tier 1 suppliers that we decided to bring to this event for you to network with for immediate opportunities. And these are our tier 1 suppliers that need to increase their minority spend.
I just want to kind of build on what Carlton said about you got to be a quality business and then lean into your certification. I think you should be prepared to wow people. The thing I see from a lot of minority business, small business, is like you just got a table and like a flyer And I'm like, bro, what separates you from all the other people here with the table and the flyer? Like, you come to a thing like this, it's like 1 million people on the floor, right? And so I can't even tell you apart. So GAA is one of our clients. And if you go into the floor and you see their booth, it's like wood grain and it's white and it's kind of dramatic. But it's not designed like that by mistake. It's not even dramatic by mistake. When you look at that booth, I remember at the National, Facebook was there and somebody else was there. Their booth was built like theirs. The reason why we use that aesthetic is because that's the aesthetic of the future. It wasn't about just being gaudy and being extra. It actually was less dramatic. It was sleeker. Because we were looking at the industry trend around how you present your business. And everybody isn't at that scale, but it also isn't complicated to kind of redo your look so that you feel more polished. Take it from a broke person that does marketing. I do a lot of work to look bigger than my company is. And it's allowed us to get a lot more work because they assume our capacity based upon our presentation. Because we present like a company 8 times our size. And so sometimes you have to be willing to invest the time, not even necessarily the money, but the time in the aesthetic and in the presentation of what your narrative is so that people can say, wow, this is really exciting and really interesting. How do I find out more about this? And I don't see that a lot, and I'd love to see it more. Like that, and that's not even like a give me money. That's just like, just consider how lined up your brochures are, right? You know, this stuff is just like scattered about. Like, don't, right? Like, present.
All right. So final questions before we wrap up this session. All right, so I would like to thank each and every one of the panelists today for allowing me the opportunity to even sit on the stage with you. I would like to thank you and the audience for spending your hour with us in this session. I hope you found it to be valuable. I hope you will stop by our booths if you're exhibiting here. And we'll be around if you have any additional questions for the next 5 or 10 minutes.